It's been a while, I guess, like 10 months at this point. I guess and you've been busy being a dad and those kind of things, but what's the time off been like for you?
It's been fun, but I've been treating myself like I need to get better in a lot of places. So, uh, spending time with the family, training, but also like kind of like not take every session as serious. Like as in like I'm not grinding like going hard every single day. So some days are more technical than the others, but I had a lot of training partners who were in camp, so I'm the guy that's always like, well, you need somebody to go with. I don't mind going with. I love giving a helping hand. So to me, I just been in the gym helping out my training partners. It's essentially has gotten me a lot better too. So yeah, it's been a fun time off, and I can see how retirement looks looks good. But man, I with how much I was working, I was just like, I need to get a fight. I need to get a fight.
Yeah. I was going to ask you if it was challenging because, like you said, I know you had great things in your personal life and you probably enjoyed the time, but it feels like I guess your career is only going up from here, but it does feel like you're more popular and higher ranked than you've ever been. So was it tough to only get to compete once last year?
Yeah, no, I wanted to compete multiple times last year. I know realistically 3 wasn't going to be an option, especially once I got into that ranking spot. Uh, but I at least wanted one more just to finish off the year. But for unfortunate reasons, I wasn't able to get in. But this opportunity popped up, and I was at first I was really bummed out because I didn't know that it was a UFC 287 pay-per-view card. I didn't know like the stakes of this card. I had saw that UFC San Antonio was there, so I was like, yeah, let's go. I want to do in my home state. Let's do another one. Let's run it back here in Texas. And the next, they're like, it's UFC 287. Please just take a chill. I was like, oh, okay. Who's headlining that? And, oh, who's the co-main event? Oh, yeah, yeah, and it's in Miami. All right, okay, we're good. We're good to go. Yeah, it made me feel a little bit better, So I'm gonna have my family out here as well, like in a couple days. So for me, I'm really excited. Really excited, like just for this fight week in general, just because how high stakes this is. Like, man, Izzy Pereira too. That's a phenomenal fight. Then you got Gilbert Burns versus Jorge Masvidal. Man, like yeah, like with how high I'm like my I guess stardom. It's even weird to say that. That's so weird. The fact that I'm fighting right before them still kind of blows my mind. And yeah, I'm loving this opportunity.
I was going to ask you if that kind of forces you, right? Because I know what a fan of the sport you are, right? And you watch all these people, but now, like you said, you're on a pay-per-view main card right below. I mean, you're peers with those guys now. You know what I mean? Has that been kind of a weird mindset for you to kind of get used to? That like, yeah, I'm part of this.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get used to it because I still fanboy over a lot of these people. I just saw like Gilbert Burns yesterday. I was like, oh, that was fucking cool. You guys, I just didn't fucking see that. It's fucking Gilbert Burns right there. And and like being able to talk to Izzy, that's been pretty cool. So every single time I'm just like, yeah, like I'm still a fan of this sport, and I love it and I watch it every single time it comes on. So to me, you're never gonna get the fan, like me not being a fan of fighting ever. So if I see people coming up and I like them, man, I 100%, I'm gonna be a fan of them. Might fanboy, but like Izzy and Jorge and Gilbert and all those like top tier guys that been around for a while. Like I look at them, that's when I'm like, all right, yeah, I can fanboy over these guys, but these other guys coming up, it's cool. We're homies. We're homies, all right, guys.
That's awesome. All right, we'll talk about this fight itself because stylistically on paper, man, I mean, it looks like it's going to be an absolute banger. I mean, do you look at it that way, and can you go into a fight thinking like, oh, this could be a scrap?
Oh yeah, I've had that. I tuned into the boxing into boxing a little bit, and I was like, you know what? I'm going into this with the mindset of Marvin Hagler. I'm going in for war. That's exactly the mindset every single time. I'm going for war because this guy has the never die attitude, and he's gonna keep getting up. He's been hurt multiple times, but he's never been finished by TKO or knockout. He keeps coming back, and he wants to get the win. He's fighting tooth and nail. So to me, I'm like, it excites me because I know as soon as he gets dropped, he comes back and looks better that next round. So to me, I'm just like, I have to be ready. I have to be ready at every second because this guy's gonna be nonstop coming forward. What you can throw whatever you want at him, but he's gonna keep coming forward, and that to me excites me. Like I get really excited whenever I fought Davey Grant. It was exciting. It was exciting because Davey Grant is the same type of fighter. So to me, looking at somebody like Rob, I'm like, Yeah, this definitely makes me get out of bed a lot earlier than what I needed to, you know. So for me, I know, and also on top of that, the implications on that as well. He's ranked number 6 in the world. For me, if I go out there and I starch him, be the first guy to put him out, I get his number, you know. So that just skyrockets me into another stratosphere on my end. You know, I'm 12 right now. Cut my ranking in half, go to 6. You know, realistically, one more fight and I'm a title shot away. So you know yeah, everything's kind of coming true like the way that I've been thinking about it. But yeah, it's big things. Big things can happen. But I got to stay focused on fun.
That's all.
Whoa! Fuck it, fight in the dark.
That's awesome. Last thing for you, we're just getting the strobe effect. You kind of touched on it there, but I mean, this division is, I think, probably the most stacked in the sport right now, right? All these names. So, I mean, you talk about, I mean, with a win here, number 1 contender fight next. Is that what you're thinking? Is there any matchups that you think make sense, or is it just kind of see how things shake out? Like, what comes next?
Honestly, after this fight, let's just say everything goes the way I want it to, and I start Font. Like I kind of had to wait to see how the division plays out because we got guys who are getting matched up, guys who are like we're booked, and man, everybody was kind of booked around this time. So you kind of really, if you're planning on like, hey, I want this fight, then this fight next, and do that, you know, it wasn't really gonna happen whatsoever because man, like everybody was booked up, everybody had a fight coming up, and then every single time I was like talking to my manager about, hey, well, get me in a fight. They're like, oh, there's nobody really available right now. And I'm like, well, and that was kind of the problem. Like last year, everybody was just booked up for no reason. But yeah, no, it's pretty much I got to see how the division plays out. Like I know I can throw myself in the mix easily if I just start Rob Font. And like if I start Font, puts me in that mix, you know, and especially if I do it like the first guy to do it against Font, that easily puts me up there. So you got a lot of guys who are coming off of a couple losses and all that stuff, you know. So I know those guys are probably going to be fighting each other, but the guys coming off of wins, they only want to fight higher, so I don't think they would want to fight back. So maybe, I don't know, man. There's a lot of things that can happen, so a lot of things. So I'm really excited how to look at the division after this fight.
Adrian, over here. You were talking about like looking up to all these other fighters that you kind of run to the hotel, but earlier when this fight was announced, you had tweeted that you were making your pro debut when Rob was making his UFC debut. Mm-hmm. So was he a name that you kind of looked up to too, or did you just?
I was a fan. I was a fan of his style. You know, like how can you not be a fan of Rob Font's style? He's a nonstop coming forward. He does it primarily with the hands, and to me, like I've always appreciated that type of style. Like I was a boxing fan before I was an MMA fan, and then once MMA came about, I forgot all about boxing. But yeah, no, like you can't not watch a Rob Font fight and not be like, oh shit, like this, like I can't watch this guy fight. I gotta turn away from the TV. No, you're not that person. You know, you're just not a fan of violence. But I'm a fan of violence, and I like watching Rob fight. So yeah, you know, after I fight him, you know, I kind of hope he keeps on fighting because I want to continue to see him fight.
I know when you were both on your way up, you and Sean O'Malley were kind of circling each other before you even got ranked, and it seems like you both wanted the fight, but it never happened. In hindsight, was that a blessing because now the way your careers are going, if you do match up, it's just that much bigger?
Oh, yeah. No, I feel like everything is kind of the way everything is went, it's going as, I guess, according to like a bigger plan, I guess, because at the end of the day, like I go out there, I start Font. Man, tell me why Sean wouldn't want to take this fight. I know he secured a title fight. He can pretty much wait for a title shot, but if he wants to stay busy, like he's like, oh, well, I can make some big money fighting Yanez. You know, I know we could headline an event easily. I go out there, I start Font. He's been looking really good against some good people. He beat Yan. You know, and Yan is like pretty much almost like he's a Russian version of me. But no, I think that would actually make a lot of sense for him. But I know with how division plays out, I know he's gonna wait for the title fight. But yeah, I think that fight would be really, really big, especially if I do everything that I need to do on my end. I have to do, because if I don't go out there and I don't do it, then all that kind of just deflates the balloon. But right now it's still blowing up, and yeah, I can't wait to pop that balloon, man.
And unrelated to this fight, this past weekend, it was announced Endeavor bought the majority interest in the WWE, so now UFC and WWE are under the same kind of banner. So what do you make of kind of that partnership right there?
Oh man, just shows you how much the company has grown and how much, like how much it was valued for. Us fighters were going out there and putting it all on the line and going out there and like putting up exciting fights week after week after week, and it just shows, man. It just shows in the what the UFC is valued for. Us fighters, we kept going out there, putting fight in the nights and all that stuff, and just seeing like the big company like the WWE. Like I remember watching Raw, ECW, all that way back in the day. So for me, seeing that, it is a little unreal for me to be like, oh wait, now like a part of the company that I work for, like not saying division and all that stuff, but like it's like they're pretty much like partnered up. So I'm like, that's pretty fucking cool. Who
are your favorite wrestlers?
My favorite wrestler is definitely Stone Cold, just because his whole gimmick was he's from Victoria, Texas, and I'm a Texas guy, so yeah. And then also, The Rock, whenever he was going, he always had that great comebacks and all that stuff, so that to me was funny.
Last one for me. How do you see the main event playing out between Izzy and Alex?
Man, that's a good one. That's a really, really good one. I know I saw Izzy getting the fight. I thought he was up, going into that last round. If it would have went to the decision, I would have had it Izzy 4-1. But Pereira just has that power that just nobody can really take. But man, it just depends. Because if I know Izzy, he's very technical. He's very tactical, and if Pereira gets overzealous thinking that he can do it all over again, I know Izzy will snipe him out. But there's also a thing, whenever somebody wins the belt, they jump and they start believing in themselves. Like look at Leon Edwards whenever he fought Kamaru Usman this last time around. There was a complete, he got so much better just believing that he was champion. You're like, oh no, I'm champ. I'm this guy. Goes out there and gets the win. So made it look, it wasn't as he made it competitive and made it look competitive whenever it wasn't a competitive fight there in their second go around. So that that might rub off on Pereira. So but to me still Izzy knockout round 2.
Adrian, a couple questions over here. I just want to pick your brain on some of the things happening in your division. Mm-hmm. First of all, the title fight. Aljamain Sterling defending against Henry Cejudo. How do you see that fight, and also what do you make of just Cejudo coming out of retirement and jumping straight into a championship bout?
Okay, so Henry coming out of retirement and jumping into title contention. I you know what? I would have made a big fuss about it if it was like somebody if he didn't leave on bad terms or had to take a suspension, TJ Dillashaw and all that stuff like that. That would have put a bad taste in my mouth, but. It's Henry Cejudo who left as a champion. He retired as a double champion. He was like, all right, cool. It's my time to come back. And he came back. And, honestly, rightly reserved. He kind of deserved that. He was a champ at that time when he left. I think he should be able to come back and fight for the title, because he did have the flyweight title and then he held the bantamweight title. So, yeah, I think it was rightly deserved. And I don't make any fits about it because I was like, well, he's worked his ass off to get there, and he left, he retired, came back. He's still, I believe he's still championship level. So that fight right there is gonna be, it's pretty much the way I look at it. Is gonna be unorthodox versus the orthodox. They're both intelligent, they both have really good MMA IQ. So to me, whenever I'm looking at this fight, it kind of, from what it's looking like, is if Henry can keep standing, is gonna stay with Henry. He's no slouch on the ground, but Aljo, if Aljo gets him down, I think Aljo takes it.
Yeah, and you mentioned O'Malley there a few minutes ago. What do you make of him? It seems he has the stance that he's just gonna wait out for the next shot, and we still have a title fight booked, right? So, what do you make of him sitting out and waiting for the next shot?
You know, as a fighter, I look at them as like, well, stay busy. Like, no, like don't sit down on the couch too much. But honestly, he's earned it. He's deserved it. You know, he worked his way up there. He beat Peter Yan, whether you think he won or not. He beat him. So yeah, no, he rightly deserves to sit out if he wants to. If the UFC's already told him, hey, you have the title fight, I don't blame him for being like, all right, cool, I'm just gonna sit and wait for the title, you know, because he put himself in that position. So I'm not. To me, I understand. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, you're gonna wait for that title shot, and you're gonna make sure you're extra prepared for whenever that fight comes around. One of the two guys you're fighting is either Henry or Aljo. So you got only two guys that you're looking at, and then after that, you can hone it down into one. That sounds like a smart plan to me. So I'm not like I'm not opposed to him like just sitting out and just waiting for it.
In a way, are you almost grateful, or maybe the word happy, for the kind of where you're at in the division right now? Because it seems like if you were a top title contender right now, I mean, that's a tough situation. You got a title fight booked, then you got somebody waiting for it, right? It seems like you're kind of catching the wave at the perfect time. Like, you're just going to start, you know, creeping into those top five slots.
Oh yeah, no, I feel that. I feel that 100%. I feel like it's riding in at the perfect time. You know, if everything kind of goes as planned, you know, there's some big fights to be made, especially if I go out there and knock out Font. So for me, it's just doing what I need to do and getting there, and then after that, pretty much just seeing how the division plays out. Because man, it is a stacked division. There's a couple fighters who've gotten. Because I'll say it like this. I go on a 2-fight win my next 2 fights, beat Font, beat somebody else. I'm pretty sure if Aljo's not the champ, you know, Merab's going to get that next shot. So even then, it would probably be Sean, then Merab, then pretty much I'd still have to wait out. So there's a lot of things going on, and you know, for me, I'm just like, you know, I'm happy with just like actually getting the fight, because it has been 10 months and I've been wanting a fight for a while. So on my end, I'm just happy that fight week's around.
Thank you.
Adrian over here.
Yep.
You mentioned earlier, you know, that you made your pro debut when Rob was making his UFC debut, and that you were a fan. Like, how's it feel, you know, to be here fighting him and you're a betting favorite against him?
Man, honestly, that's still super wild to me, man. That like, I kind of sit back and I kind of think about it, and I'm just like, man, that's crazy that I've already come this far, you know. And he's like, the whole time I was working to make it here, he was already there and he's been there. So, and the fact that like everybody has me as the betting favorite just kind of shows that, man, like, I've been putting in work. Like, everybody sees that I'm putting in work, and you know, for me, I don't look at this as me as the favorite. I look at him as the favorite, you know, and that's the way I've been approaching this like the whole entire time. Because, man, he's still a dog. He's still like, again, like you put him, you're like, he's against the wall right now. He's coming off of 2 losses. He's fucking dangerous right now. He's a dangerous man. So for me, like, it's exciting. It's exciting because I know the implications. I know the implications of all this stuff, and I know that I'm getting a different Rob that Cheeto didn't get. I'm getting a different Rob that Jose didn't get. So to me, like, I'm just like, I know he's going to come for you. I know he's looking to keep his spot and actually move forward to get to the title shot, and his back is on the wall and he has to fight coming forward. So to me, I like that. I want him at his best. He's in his worst spot, so he's going to fight like hell. So to me, I'm super fucking excited. And it's still crazy to me that, like, I was like, and also it was kind of easy to do film because, like, I've been a fan of him. So it's like, oh yeah, I love watching his fights. So I could just go back and watch his fights.
Awesome. And then last question for you here. You know, you mentioned the Sugar Sean fight potentially is someone you want to fight. Curious your take, how you think the betting odds should be on that.
Man, I have no idea. I'm pretty sure he'd be the favorite, if I'm being honest with you. I think he'd be the favorite.